Yep. Yeah. Like I said, if when there is an athlete come in and we'll have the interview over the images, because we need to hear what they say, but they might hear themselves in a loop from audio. So no, no, no. It's good. So it means that if we hear the athlete, when the athletes from the North Face will come and we'll do interviews, if we hear them, they don't hear. Yeah, no, they would hear themselves through the mic. Because here, do you hear yourself? Yeah. So I think when we have athletes, just one of us stays and we'll have that so we can actually hear without them hearing back what they say.
Yeah, yeah.
So otherwise, that comes
yeah.
out and that goes back in.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right. Well, 10 minutes to start.
Mm.
All right, team. This is it. We are back once again, and it doesn't feel like we've left you for that long. This time it is dark on the island of Gran Canaria, and we are ready for the classic, the one and only, the 126-kilometer of the race from the north of the island to the south of the island. It's a point to point, goes away all the way across, and we're going to be following the start of that race. It will start in 28 minutes from now, and we're going to follow them for about a couple of hours, Maj, before they go really into the night, into the darkness, where it's going to obviously be impossible to follow them live. But we're going to be there all day tomorrow to follow the rest of the race and see how things unfold.
Yeah, Martin, this absolutely iconic race is happening again. It's 26th edition. Title sponsor, the North Face, is really putting in all the stops to make sure that this is one of those races that no one ever forgets about. You can see here that it is very, very dark. It's coming up to midnight on the evening of Friday. They are chilling out, getting ready in Las Palmas de Gran Canaria. The start line, the energy there, Martin, I believe would be full of nervous excitement. And we got to witness an incredible race earlier today in the marathon distance. And looking at the lineup, it's going to be a hot contended field out there again for the classic 126 kilometers with about 6,700 meters of elevation gain and also loss. So they start at sea level, they work their way up to a high point of around about 1,700 meters, and then they drop all the way back down, crossing this incredible landscape and this incredible island from north all the way to south. And we can't wait to see it all unfold. It's, as Martin said, we'll be here for a couple of hours to watch the energy and see it all kick off. And then they'll run through the night and we will pick them back up in the dawn and watch it all finish off. Hopefully there's some fireworks. Hopefully there's some popcorn, as you like to say, Martin, and looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
Yeah, so let's take a quick look at the course in detail. So this is the northern part of the island, Playa de Las Canteras, and this is the iconic start on the beach where they're going to be running it just a little bit under a K, and then into like the lake, the shore, and then on to those parts of the city. And at that point, we will still have images. We'll still be able to cover that. And this is only when they leave that little valley that we're going to end up losing them. I can't remember exactly, but around that point, although they're coming back into town. So maybe we'll get the second aid station 20 Ks in. And that will be after. I think this is the point where we're losing them. And they're going into the higher country. And as you see, as you were saying, Maj, they're climbing all the way through to the highest point. Which it takes a while. So this is only 31 Ks into the race. So things get real a little later. And there we go. Now we see we're moving up as we go. And let's see. Yeah, Moya, El Hornillo, Antarana. And then we'll pick them up in Tejeda, I think. Maybe even a little earlier, actually. When they're going to get to the high point tomorrow morning at sunrise is always quite a fantastic view for all these runners. They're coming out in the night and into a full day of racing. Cutoff is 30 hours. And so this is right about, I think, when they get to the high point, there's the observatory. And then Tejeda, that if you were with us earlier today, we saw the start of the North Face Transgrancanaria Marathon. And then they're following pretty much the same course all the way to the finish, although they might be a bit of a different route. No, I think this is it. Because I can't remember if they were doing that little top part that they weren't doing in the marathon. But no, it seems like this is the same one. There you go, Aiguares, and then that long grind on the dirt road and down into that next valley into the finish. That long flat section, which is relentless. And there you go, 126 kilometers, 6,862 meters of elevation gain and loss, point-to-point race. But since they start and finish around sea level, and this is exactly the same amount of climbing and descending as you were saying, Maj. What goes up must go down. And I believe we're going to be talking a little bit about our top athletes. And now we're starting to have visuals on the line. Athletes are getting ready. We're still a wee ways before we get started. So I think we might have the official here. Trail Running Review is in the house, obviously. They're always covering all the top international events. But when it comes to the Spanish one, they are always there. Here's Kim Farrow right here on the left-hand side. Always using those digital cameras and making incredible shots. And I think we still have a little bit of time until we see names and faces that we can recognize, simply because there's still a bit of time. And so they're going to be able to actually walk in through the front, all the elite runners. And this is Martin Geffery and Maj Backhausen. But we just had a bit of a, I don't know. Do you want to be Carolina or I No, I think we're going to be introducing the official people, and there might be a little bit of a introduction speech by the people of the island of Gran Canaria as the camera is going a little deeper into the field of all these runners eager to have a good go. But I always feel like from a personal perspective that would be a very hard start, because you want to be super careful on the beach not to get like too much sand in your shoes right from the start, right from the go. Then what do? Like when you get off, you take off your shoes, or do you try to have, I don't know, gaiters? Because what will take you out is the pebble in your shoe.
Yeah, that's it, Martin. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things about starting at 1 minute to midnight of a race for a race of this distance. There's a lot of factors that I'm sure these runners have been working through all day, like how much sleep do you get during the day? How much do you eat? How do you manage all of those things and get to this start line feeling ready to go? Because this is one incredible race that is going to really test everyone like it does every single year. So, folks, just to give you a little bit of a rundown, Raul Butachi, he won the race last year in 13 hours, 22 minutes and 32 seconds. And then if we have a look at the lead female winning the race last year, a name that a lot of people probably know, Courtney Dauwalter, she won the race in 15 hours, 14 minutes and 54 seconds. So, folks, if you are going to hold on in there and join us for the absolute incredible race that this is, they are the finishing times we're going to be looking at when 126 kilometers is finished for the first runners in the male and the female category. Big race out there, and they are going to have to move all the way through the night. And then they will most likely be finishing in the afternoon on Saturday. And they will have been able to successfully complete the crossing of this incredible island, and a landscape that has some incredible biodiversity as well. 40% of this island is under conservation measures. So that is a testament to the way that they respect this island and what they want to do to make sure that its beauty remains. And there's also 146 small little areas that are listed as protected conservation areas, which is pretty cool to see too. And we'll be able to see some of that incredible beauty. Not so much tonight, because obviously it is very dark. It's getting on to 11:40 p.m. right now, and it's going to be a dark night for these folks. That's another thing, Martin, being able to start your race all the way through the night and then manage yourself well enough to then get into the heat of the day and finish off strong. We saw a bit of popcorn, as you like to say, in the marathon yesterday. people not really managing their effort and their hydration and their core body temperature that well. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what unfolds.
Yeah, Maj, that's the thing. Like, I mean, the longer the distance, the more hurdles you end up encountering and that you have to juggle with. And the good thing is, from a weather perspective, as much as yesterday was hot, it was not like heat heat wave that we've seen before on the island. It was about 22, 23 degrees Celsius at the finish line of the marathon. So not scorching hot, but obviously enough to require runners to look after themselves and stay hydrated. But also the nights that are infamous here for massive drops in temperature between the day and the night. Actually, the cold weather kit has not been required for all the participants to carry, meaning that they don't need to have all this extra gear in case temperatures really drop low during the night. So that should be a little bit to the runner's advantage and a little bit less to carry as well. We've seen that recently at Tarawera in New Zealand. Like runners didn't have to carry any mandatory equipment because the weather was perfect, and that showed way faster times. So again, if you don't have to carry a kg and a half of extra gear, that makes such a difference, especially over 126 kilometers. So there we go. Our top contenders for this year's edition of the North Face Transgrancanaria Classic. John Albon has the highest ITRA score. Tom Evans will not start. He's out for injury, I believe. Last year's second place finisher, Miguel Eras, and somebody was saying in the chat, yeah, mad respect for the man, 50 years young and still absolutely crushing. American runner Caleb Olson, Abel Carretero, Yonel Cristian Manole, third last year, Jose Angel Fernandez, Pao Capel, Fotis Sissimopoulos, and Tom Joly as well. Tom could do well if he looks after himself. It doesn't start out too fast. And then there's other names, Borja Fernandez that we know, Benya Marmisol, Zaydat Malik, Josh Wade, Christian Meyer as well. Like this name now should be familiar to you after his breakthrough winning TDS. So shout out to all the people in Girona. Yeah, pretty stacked field, and you'll see in the women's it's just as deep. And so I believe we'll be showing you all the names and until those appear on your screen. Shout out also to A Station Fireball. Welcome back, Liam. It's good to have you with us, at least for a couple of hours, and then we'll see how that goes when we pick up the live broadcast in the morning local time on the island. And then let us know where you're tuning in from, and if you are on the island, if you've been racing already, let us know how that went. It is 11:43 p.m. local time, so just under a quarter of an hour before the start. And there we go. Ingvild Kaspersken, she is the highest ITRA score holder in that field. Fiona Pascal, Henriette Albon, John's wife, but also a good athlete in herself. I don't want to I made a mistake to associate her with John. Claudia Tramps, solid here. I think we can expect good things from Claudia today. Martina Klankik. Maite Mayorea, also a safe bet. You know, we're talking about people who do the popcorn. Like Maite always make it to the finish line. Maria Mercedes Pila. Claire Banois. This is probably going to be too short for Claire. We know she does mad distances and she does them back to back to back all the time. And then we had a bit more names like Marilyn Nakache from France, Valentina Micheli, Evie Banks, Ercilia Machado, and Ildiko Vermecher. So as I was telling you, stacked field, Maj.
Yeah, stacked field there. It's awesome to see so many names that we recognize in this incredible world of trail running. Also, big shout out the number of nationalities that are represented here across the whole race this week, really, at the North Face Transgrancanaria. There's over 74 countries represented. 57% of the entire field is represented by nationalities outside of the Canary Islands and Spain. So it's a really cool vibe that is going on here, really representing the Gran Canaria World Trail Majors and what that series is about. This race classifies in the Ultra Series of that entire race series. Yesterday, the marathon took center stage, representing the Gran Canaria World Trail Majors short series, which is new to 2025. So make sure you check up on all that info via the World Trail Majors website. But this is part of the Ultra Category. They were able to celebrate the 2024 champions in the World Trail Majors just this week, closing out that season. And we will no doubt see a few bits of information and a few clips of those incredible races later on through the broadcast. But right now, Martin, it is getting very close to start time. They still have about 10 minutes, just a little bit over. But I dare say that the energy is building. There are some of the greatest MCs down on the start line right now, and there would be a lot of nervous energy and a lot of excitement too. So a big shout out to everyone as they get ready to take on this big adventure. Give us a shout out in the chat. If you have done this race, let us know where you are dialing in from. Let us know if one of your friends is running, one of your family members, one of your enemies. Just let us know. Give them a shout out in the chat. But I'm sure you are all very excited to see this unfold.
Yeah, and Maj, that probably gonna make me look ridiculous, but again, that wouldn't be the first time or the last time. But I'm not getting the doink in the chat. So is this a reference that I'm missing? And I do love melons, but same, like I'm not too sure what this is about. Look like rock melon emojis. So you guys gonna have to fill us in on that. Sorry, we're old timers now. We're out of date.
I'm gonna search it.
But yeah, in the meantime, we see that start line filling up slowly but surely. Everybody is probably now getting into the zone. Last 10 minutes before the go, and then we're gonna start seeing the elite athletes walking into this start line through the front. And somebody was, I'm reading the comments. Finn, okay. Finn Melanson has claimed this emoji. I didn't know you could do that.
Wow. Okay. So what is that emoji? A doink. Okay, cool. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Brett. Appreciate you showing up and providing some sort of value in the chat. I'm sure you're recovering well from your running the other day at one of the World Trail Major short series races at Black Canyon over in Arizona, the USA. So good to see you there. Brett, let us know in the chat what shoe you would race this race in, because we all know that you know a lot about shoes. And when you recommend the shoe, make sure it's a shoe by the North Face, please. Thank you.
Yep.
But yeah, look at this, folks. This is an incredible spectacle to see all of those runners getting ready to take to the start of this incredible race. We will get a real update on how many runners start, but it is estimated that approximately 1,000 runners are going to be taking on the 126-kilometer journey from north to south of Gran Canaria. And yeah, as we said before, 6,800 meters of elevation up and also elevation down. Sungay Sherpa was just there. Ingvild Kaspersen.
There you go. You were asking about her. There was no doubt she was going to show up, but these top athletes tend to stay away from the light for as long as they can until they walk in. They can walk through the front, which is very convenient. So I hope they appreciate that, because this is an extra effort that all the race organizers try to offer. And yeah, this is a pretty cool view. Look at everyone moving in Yeah, I guess like we humans, we just move like ants, but we just never see it from the top.
Yeah. Ants full of nervous energy. Just there, we saw the incredible Sungay Sherpa from Nepal. What a amount of racing he has done. Second place, Miguel Harras from last year, and 2010 champion, as you said before, looking young and fit as always, Martin.
Imagine that 15 years ago, winning Transgrancanaria, and last year finishing second, and still be at the start and with serious chances. Here's Ionel Christian Manole from Romania, living in Spain. Always a safe bet as well.
We saw earlier on before as well, Christian Mayer. He is getting ready. I bet he will be keen to kick off his 2025 season with some style. Unfortunately, having to DNF at UTMB last year. Martin, as you said, he was a champion of TDS, which really put him on the stand as being one of the best ex-professional cyclists he is. So he knows a lot about endurance. There is a lot of folks getting ready to kick this off. Claudia Temps, she is getting ready as well, ready to take on this race as she has done many, many times before.
There's Caleb Olson here, all white, anticipating the heat of the day tomorrow.
No stranger to the heat. Caleb doing incredibly well, hitting top 10 in Western States last year. Zaid Malik as well. Talking about someone who's been in the sport for quite a while. There he is. Big smile as always, ready to go. Looks like it's good weather down there, Martin. There's not a whole lot of long sleeves or gloves going on down there right now. It looks like it must be perfect. The temperatures throughout the evening look like they're going to be around about 16 degrees at the coldest. There is not going to be any wind, and it's going to be almost perfect running temperatures. Probably will feel a little bit warm just because there's not going to be too much breeze to cool people down, and they're going to be working at a pretty high intensity, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's still like 7 minutes. Here is again Maite Mayora, who's getting a big flashlight in the face from the camera. Everybody is now getting ready, and yeah, I don't understand. That's got to be Flemish. Romain talking about Carol Sabe. Carol, who just took the FKT on the Tiaurera in New Zealand. Oh, this is someone we know. One of the old timers of the North Face team, Fernanda Maciel. I didn't know she was at the start. And I think they're trying to call all the elite athletes to make sure they've all made it to the line. It's Borja Fernandez.
Yeah, Martin, it's going to be really interesting to see how this all unfolds. Who's going to take it out hard? Who's going to take control of this race? There we can see Pau Capel just at the right of the screen there in the orange. Incredible, winning 4 consecutive titles here between 2017 and 2020. The true king of the island is Pau Capel. And as you said, Fernanda Maciel right there. Shorter than most of them, but she is an absolute mountain beast when it comes to events like this. And again, just another person to get motivated and inspiration from, being in the sport for so long, maintaining that ability to perform at a super high level. I think we just got a glimpse of Jonathan Alban as well, so it's great to see him showing up and being able to start this race.
Was he also in orange?
I don't know if I clocked him in orange. I don't think it was, but I think he's looking ready. He is sitting at the top of the list of our elite runners with the highest ITRA score today. So it's going to be good to see how he takes on the race and whether he controls it from the start or whether he sits back and lets other people do all the work.
And we got the information from Owen Davis. I don't know where you got this information, but it looks like Tom Jolie is a DNS today as well. So we've got two Brits who were originally as part of the top containers who actually didn't quite make it.
Owen Davis, are you meant to be starting as well? I think you're on the start list there, mate. So I wonder if that's the Owen Davies from Britain that is also on the start list. Hope you're not a DNS as well. That would be going against the British politeness that we often see. But anyway, what we do know is the people that are here are almost ready to go. It's only a couple of minutes now until the start. As we said, they're going to be kicking off at 11:59, Martin, local time.
Yeah, and we don't have just yet the audio of the start line, but the speakers are now getting rid of all the non-runners in that start line. They're getting the crowds fired up to send off all these runners into the night for a hell of a journey. And yeah. So Owen is out too, and Wade in Derbyshire. Yeah, I saw that Mark was also running. So yeah, that'll be quite a few names still left representing the UK.
Getting a lot of love for Finn out there. He must have done something incredible in his training block, like I'm sure so many other people did. So it's going to be cool to see how he goes. Folks, we are also going to have the opportunity to have some pretty cool guests in the studio throughout this broadcast. And so we can tell you more about that later. But make sure you tune in as we speak to some of the incredible athletes from the North Face later on in the broadcast when we pick it up tomorrow.
So yeah, all bets are still on for a sub 3:30 minute per K first K, especially on the beach. That's a bold statement, 8 station fireball, but you know Liam's rarely wrong.
Rarely wrong. That would be a very informed guess, I would imagine.
Which means that's going to kick a lot of sand right behind everyone. And it's going to be hectic. I would want to be on that front line and get out of there. So once again, to identify the runners, especially when it's going to get dark, it looks like the North Face runners are in full orange. In white, we had both Caleb Olson from the US, Team Nike, and Christian Meyer from Team Solomon. And then I can't remember who else. Claudia Trumps with the very easy to spot on running kit. Maite Mayoria always black and yellow with Vibram. So these are the colors that you need to keep in mind so we can very quickly identify all the runners. And indeed, Ingvild Kaspersken, I don't remember, Maj, what she was wearing.
She was wearing the very common Terex kit that is being seen out there. It is also pretty white. I'm trying to clock Jonathan Alban. I feel like he might be just at the very left of the starting chute right there. But as you can see, folks, just above them right there, it is ticking down to 1 minute before we start, and it is going to get going.
And we haven't started yet, and I love the banter in the chat. Like, we have a bet for 3:29 for Pau Capel, and he will lead out. So we shall see how that goes. But then, yeah, maybe you're right, Maj. Like, we know that John Alban is not a big fan of high temperatures, so he will do everything to avoid unnecessary heat. And so he will most likely be wearing white, or maybe he'll just change the t-shirt in the morning.
Absolutely.
We'll see.
Big shout out to Rye Webb in the chat. That's cool. Good luck, Rye, out there. Folks, we have 15 seconds until we kick off. So the 10-second countdown is about to go right now. If you're at home, give it a shout. We are about to kick off the 2025, the North Face Transgrancanaria. And it is going to be going right now. Here we go, folks. As they stream down the incredible beach here.
Oh yeah, and we're on for 3:30 first K, no doubt about it. Maybe they're gonna need to turn on the headlamps at some point. And so who's leading out? That is a North Face kit, ladies and gentlemen. Man, Tobias, hope you put money down, because I think you're right. It's this Pau Capel, ladies and gentlemen, leading the field with the Beeb #1 of the Transgrancanaria Classic. The North Face athlete, his head down on the beach, showing the logo, showing his face, and you know, he still has some good years in his legs, so can't rule him out. Can't rule him out.
Let's go, Pal. 4-time consecutive champion here at the North Face Transgrancanaria, winning from 2017 all the way to 2020. Pau Capel, no stranger to starting out hard and starting out fast. So he's just going to string everyone out here. This also might be a little bit of a tactic to avoid getting showered in sand.
Yes.
Because this is there's no questioning that. As you can see, folks, they are literally running on the beach here, running through all the sand and making their way pretty quickly across it. A lot of energy at that start line. What a beautiful spectacle. What a beautiful place to start a race.
And it looks like they're on the right-hand side of your screen, like all the runners are getting scattered on the beach, not really like following one very specific line. So that's interesting. I think they'll all gather as soon as they get onto the road where Pau Capel is now. And he's almost looking around like, damn, where is everyone? There we go. They're slowly catching up, and he's easing off the gas pedal now, waiting for them to catch up. And so John is actually maybe going to make a move right behind our cam runner right now. And so now it's time. So is Caleb Olson, I think, right there behind Pau is what looks like another North Face runner. I love it. Pau fast first K and Christmas, two things that come every year.
That's brilliant.
I love it.
Brilliant, folks. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Make sure you give your friends a shout out if they are running out there. Yeah, here we go, Martin. What an incredible, iconic race this is and has become over its 26th year history. It's really become a race early on in the season, landing in February every year. It is a race that sees a huge amount of talent show up year on year. And, especially when you consider it being, the winter months in the North Hemisphere, Europe, North America, and everywhere above the equator. So it's a really early season race for a lot of crew that are probably training through winter, doing a lot of kilometers on the treadmill, avoiding a fair bit of snow. And yeah, this is definitely a race with a lot of elevation as well, 6,800 meters over the 126 kilometers. So it's definitely got a lot of punch in it. And there's very distinct hills and very distinct climbs in this race. If you have a look at the elevation profile, you can just see it's one big climb, one big descent, one big climb, one big descent, and it happens consistently throughout the whole course. So it's and Martin, also another thing to note is the back end of this course is a lot of downhill. There's in that final 47 kilometers of the race, there is 2,800 meters of downhill, and so runners are going to really want to be able to manage themselves to maximize their chances on making the most of that runnable downhill terrain at the end.
And so that means you need to look after yourself all the way until the end, because if you blast your quads or IT bands, there's no coming back from it. And so there's almost 3,000 meters of descent with short legs. It's just going to be extremely painful, and there's going to be a lot of time that's going to be wasted. So I'm sure all these runners are extremely well aware of that. and will be mindful of looking after the legs and running smooth and light in the first descents. It seems ridiculous. Like they're obviously running on pavement right now, which helps to run faster. But the pace at which these runners are going, knowing they're going into the night into 126 Ks and almost 7,000 meters of elevation gain and loss, like this is suicidal. There's no way you can keep up with that pace. So it's interesting how, like, I wouldn't say race strategy, but the way like they run, knowing that they're burning matches right here, like running at such a high pace, while it's hardly necessary. So I think it's Yone Christian Manole. He's there with the black pack and the white T-shirt, and in blue, I actually don't really know who that is. Team? Is that somebody who's lost a bet and said that he would be in the lead for a while?
Maybe he's winning his bet and betting on himself to keep that pace up with the front runners. There's a few other cool names to see popping up on that start list. We had just over 1,000 runners, so we had 1,005 runners listed as entrants for the race. We've yet to get an update on exactly how many started, but yeah, it's cool. It's cool to also see the names of someone like Seth Swanson from the US, who is multiple times second place at the iconic Western States endurance run. He is a runner for the North Face, so hopefully he took to the start and backing up his finish at Tour de France last year. And so he will know what it's like to run in the mountains.
So yeah, we get, I think, our top two female runner. A little bit further in front is Ingvild Kaspersken, and she's followed very closely by Claudia Tramps. So these seemingly are the first and second female runner. I mean, this is super early in the race, but this is like slowly shaping up, and Ingvild is not shying off of being in the front. And I think we have a very smart man here. I mean, that is one of the smartest guy in terms of race pacing. Sanjay Sherpa hanging out with Ingvild. Like in the chat, there's all this banter about visibility and getting a few bonuses. Well, like the other option, instead of blasting yourself at a 3:30 pace, is just hang out with the top ladies, because you're still going to get coverage. And that's going to be far less taxing. You actually might make it to the finish.
Yeah, so there we have footage of the lead females, Ingvild Kaspersen, and second place from last year, Claudia Tramps. I think she's obviously going to know this course incredibly well, and Ingvild is definitely the one to beat out there today, especially if you look at the ITRA rankings, and also looking back at Ingvild's history and her successes over the years. So running for Adidas Terex, and Claudia there running for Team On. Yeah, folks, there's a few easy but fast kilometers to kick off the race here, and yeah, we have our lead runner who we've yet to identify, but we are going to do a little bit of homework, do a little bit of research on who this gentleman is taking out the lead here.
And I don't know if this is the wind blowing or something, but it looked like where the male leader was going through, there was water on the ground. So I don't know where this is coming from. Now you can see it as much as I do. And so I wonder if there's been a bit of drizzle, or if this is just the moisture from the ocean. And so we still have our male leader, like turning the 1K reps into like a proper tempo, because he's out and he's far out. Like nobody else chose to actually run at his pace. And so we've got this gentleman cruising in front with some 200 meter at least on the rest of the pack. Just 10 minutes elapsed into the race. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you know who that is, like we're extremely interested whether we're missing out on one of the dark horses of this race, or if this is just a bit of a smoke and mirror to to shine on the live broadcast and then eventually fall back. But this is impressive, and to be fair, he doesn't look like he's outreaching too much. Looking at his watch, so yeah, first surprise at least on our end. 266. Let's try and figure this out. If you spotted a different number, let us know. But I believe that's what it was. 266. Alexandre Delisée. And we're gonna try and figure out. So by the name of it, it's like he's from France. Maybe this wasn't 266, or maybe Alexandre is absolutely smashing. The start of that race.
Yeah, 266. Yeah.
266. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Allez les Bleus. Well, he went for it. Yep, went for the blue kit to say Allez les Bleus. We got a French runner leading the North Face Transgrancanaria Classic at what seems to be like a suicidal pace. None of the elite runners chose to keep up with him. He has probably now 250 meters, if not more, lead on the rest of the pack. And well, now what do we say? Balls of steel? Because knowing that you're going for 126 and you're going to hammer that first stretch, like what's going to be left? What's going to be left after you break onto the trail and still have so much to cover? In the meantime, we stay with the women's, and Ingvild is still in the lead. And Claudia Tramps is a bit doing the yo-yo, like sticking with her and then falling back, sticking with her and falling back. Yeah. Somebody says like Frenchie will end up mid-pack. That is if he has a good day. Because the mattress he's burning right now is just like wham, 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 wham. So I don't know how big the box is. And it looks like Ingvild is also pulling away gradually. I love it. Wine and cheese in the bag. Yeah, so I mean, he's definitely a weathered runner. He's done 90K Mont Blanc. He's done La Diagonale des Fous in La Réunion Island, but never broke into like occasionally into the top 20. So that's a very bold move. He looks like he's having a good time though. Like you can see it on camera. He's smiling. I mean, we gotta love this kind of attitude. And then in the women's, I think we had another girl, Claudia Tramps, still here, and she just took the lead. Once again, and I think he deserved to have his name quoted. Alexandre Delisée is definitely cruising way out in the front. How long is that going to last? We don't know. 15 minutes elapsed last year. It was a win over 13 hours. So, needless to say, there's still a long way to go. And then in the right hand side of your screen, our lead woman representing Team On, Claudia Trumps, has now taken the lead ahead of Ingvild Kaspersken, who's representing Team Terex, and shouldn't be too far back. Maj, one question about the women's field. Have you seen Leah Yingling?
No, have not seen Leah at all. So it's unsure whether she actually took to the start. We can try and have a look, but we are unable to really get a great confirmation over the exact start list just yet. But as of yet, we haven't seen Leah starting, which normally we would expect to see her at the start of the start shoot there, lining up with everyone. So yet to confirm, but hopefully she is out there. Absolutely. Folks, if you are following along with the race, please make sure you head over to Live Trail. Live Trail is where we are going to be getting a lot of information today on these runners, the splits that they are doing, where they are sitting within the race. So head over to Transgrancanaria.live trail and you will be able to follow along in that digital format, but also make sure that you do not leave the live stream because we need you here. We need you to be right with us as we look at this race unfold in the first few kilometers, folks. As we said, we're not going to be here all night. We are going to be here for just a couple of hours, and then we will be piecing out and letting these runners traverse this incredible island from north to south, and we will pick them up again when the dawn is rising, and we will be able to see what's happened through the night. Here's a little bit of a recap, folks. Check this out. This is the marathon from earlier this morning. Francesco Poppi, watch this unfold, folks. This is Francesco Poppi taking the lead in the marathon earlier today.
So on the left-hand side was Robert Penboy, who was leading from wire to wire. We are less than 500 meters from the finish line. And on the right-hand side of your screen with the pinkish T-shirt is Francesco Pupi. And look at that pass. He just doesn't give him any chance. He's probably close to a 3-minute pace, takes that corner really hot. And this is where Robert realizes he doesn't have the extra gear to respond to the attack of Francesco Pupi. Pupi looking over his shoulder, making sure that he's opened a good enough gap, and he has. So now he's full steam into the last corner, into the finish line. Imagine that. That was like just 300 meters to go. He has 2 more turns, 1 right-hand turn, and then he will be going under the arches, and then left-hand turn into the finishing chute. And this is it. Ladies and gentlemen, with less than a minute of racing to go, Francesco Pupi takes the lead for the first time in this North Face Transgrancanaria marathon ahead of Robert Penboy, who was trying to go for his 3rd win here, but that did not happen. Yeah, you boys confirmed that Leah is not at the start. Jeff, thanks. Travis, we had the confirmation, and then now we're having a bit of a yarn with some mid packers who are seemingly having a great time, which is exactly how you should be feeling at the start of such a race. Stay within your comfort zone, look after yourself, check in with the body, see how you're feeling, and then do the little adjustments if not done with the pack, with reducing the amount of bounce, and just get ready for head of a journey.
Yeah, Martin, really interesting because, starting a race at midnight is not overly common, but if you are in this part of the world, it is something that we've seen a few times. Lavaredo is also another one of those races that starts very late into the night, forcing runners to really think a little bit differently about how their day unfolds on race day. I know, how much do you sleep? How much do you eat? Do you really want to start the day with a full stomach of food after just sitting on the couch all day? Or it's a tough one to manage. But you can see here, folks, that looks like it is Claudia Tremp's lead female, 20 minutes into the race so far, and running alongside a gentleman there. I was going to say he was wearing a brand of pack, but it is not the one that I was thinking. So I'm going to hold that thought.
Yeah, and Claudia is running pretty aggressively last year. She did something very similar. So we'll see if that pays off. I mean, she has heaps of experience, as you were saying, Maj, on this race. And now we are. Is that the chasing pack? Yeah, I believe it is. I think I recognize Caleb Olson here on the right-hand side with the white T-shirt. So this is the chase pack that are trying to keep up with the Alexandre, or maybe close the gap at some point, as they will be climbing into the first aid station. It's actually quite hard to recognize everyone with this such a dark screen. But yeah, I think last time we checked, we had all the top runners that we expected to see there. And obviously, we'll have the checkpoint. We'll be able to check on live trail the first checkpoint at 11 Ks into the race. And have a camera runner here. Probably lost sight. Oh, no. They're letting them go. So I don't think that's John on the right-hand side.
It definitely doesn't look like his style of running, that's for sure. So I wouldn't say that.
But I might be wrong.
I feel like there's a potential, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but that kind of looks like a style more like Josh Wade. I wonder if that is him. Yes, as you can see on that left-hand screen there, our friend from France, Alex, who was leading out the race in the first few kilometers, is now dropping back, probably conserving a little bit more than the way he started out. So we will see how that all unfolds.
And so, yeah, we should have the first checkpoint at 11.4 Ks into the race. And we see, like, in fourth place was Yone Christian Manolet. So exactly where he needs to go. I don't know if the Frenchie's gotten caught just yet, because he had a bit of a gap. But that will eventually happen. I'm afraid for him. And so after taking the lead early on, it looks like we're with Taylor and Charlie's. Good on them. They deserve more recognition that they actually get, because we almost never have cameras on them. So these people are some of the most important people in the race. They are walking the course behind the entire field, making sure that everybody gets home safely and nobody gets left out on the trail. They would probably pick up some of the trash that might have accidentally fallen off a pocket or a pack. And so usually they don't do the entire race, but they do sections of it. And so these are the volunteers that do cover a big part of the course on foot. And it's always good to give them a little bit of exposure, a bit of a shout out.
Yeah, folks, so a little bit of an update on the start there. We have got 877 runners that kicked off the Classic today. So we are it's pretty standard to see an attrition rate of around about 10% of people that do not start races like this. That's pretty, like a 10 to 12% is like a bit of a rule of thumb with races. So yeah, there was 1,005 people entered into the start, and 877 have now begun and are on the course. Unfortunately, here looks like that is another
Oh wow,
person who's had to pull out. Maybe our first DNF of the day.
25 minutes in and probably just a couple of Ks.
Yeah,
Oh,
wasn't his day.
yep.
But kudos to that guy for just taking the initiative to know that it wasn't his day, and not having to battle through the night. Sometimes it's just the way it is, and that's totally fine. So I hope he's got a hotel room at the start of the race,
Oh.
not the finish of the race, and it's a short journey for him back to a bed, and no doubt he'll consolidate and show up again after another solid training block. But these front runners here, folks, are setting out into the night, running north to south of this incredible island, trying to get their name at the top of the ranking for the Gran Canaria World Trail Majors, and putting their season in the best possible start that it can take. One of the early season races here. There's a few that have kicked off, but this one indeed is very iconic. It's been going now for 26 years, and this year it is stumping up an incredible field of people across all of the events. 5,300 runners gathering on this incredible island and having an absolute blast out there. Well, I mean, I hope they're having a blast, Martin. I don't know if it's always smiles and it's always good times, but that is what you decide to get involved with when you take on ultra trail running.
So I was saying that was Christian, Christian Manole, but this is not. So it's got the pack from the same team, I believe, if I identify the logo correctly.
Otis.
So currently running in 4th place. Yeah, we'll have the names of the split, unless somebody in the chat knows who that gentleman is. Currently running in 4th. And then also Owen seems to be on top of the DNS runners, and it looks like Fotis Zizimopoulos is also not going to be part of the contingent for the race here on the Gran Canaria island.
So, folks, we are going to be able to get the next accurate timing update from 11.4 kilometers into this race. Tinoia is going to be the timing point that we will see these runners pass through. So at 11.4 kilometers, that will be the next timing update, and that will really give us a good understanding of how this race has begun, how it's spread out over that first section. There's not an incredible amount of terrain that they need to cover in that section, but it's going to be good to see how it all actually shakes out. It's a little bit hard at the moment to make out exactly where our lead camera is within the race, but you can see everyone's moving and everyone's looking pretty happy.
Is that Zaid on the right-hand side of the screen? Yes, it is. It is just like very carefully and almost apologetically went in front of the cam runners. So this is definitely Zaid's attitude. So always very careful, always very respectful of everyone. What an absolute role model in our sport. And people were saying earlier, it's like, oh, I'm surprised to see him here. He used to be like more of a skyrunning specialist, and that is true. That is true. But with age, you end up going to longer distances, and he's done well already over that distance. So yeah, I think we can expect good things from Zaid if he's in a good day. He can definitely be in the mix. And we're switching back and forth without really the overlay to let you know who we're following each time, but we're going back and forth with the men's and the women's leader. See, now we're back with the men's. And so we still don't have, so there's just on the 10 runners here at the front. And this is, I was going to say Pau. Yeah, Pau Capel is closing that front pack.
Yeah, that is definitely the style and the run of Pau Capel. We can recognize him from those incredibly bright socks.
Yes.
Folks, if you want to know if that's Pau Capel on your screen at any point in this race, look for the socks. They are as safe as you can get in the world of safety standards. So Pau Capel, thanks a lot for repping and letting us know you're out there on the trail. All running under head torch here, Martin. It's they're going to be having to use this running under headlight for quite a long time out there today.
That's about half the race that is done at night, pretty much. So as much as it's good that we see every once in a while the adverts for the island of Gran Canaria, because we can truly appreciate how majestic all the landscapes, both on land and in the ocean, are. And there we go. We're moving through the field, trying to identify everyone. Sorry. So yeah, that was Zaid right there. Now
it's Miguel.
There we go. El Patron, Miguel Heras. On Relentless.
Yeah, folks, as Martin said, sunrise on the island is at 7:32. So the finishing time of this race is just over 13 hours. And so if you look at that, it's just gone midnight. These runners are going to be out there for another at least 7 hours with a lot of darkness. And then the early morning rays are going to provide a little bit of respite for these people with regards to having to be following their head torch all night long. And here we have Caleb Olsen on our left-hand side, Caleb from the USA.
And that's going to be a bit of a weather shock to his system, because last week he was running with his Nike teammates in Portland, Oregon in snow. So that's going to be a bit of a temperature difference. So hopefully he's okay with that, and he's going to have the entire night to ease into those temperatures that will rise with the sun tomorrow morning. But yeah, he's out and now leading the North Face Transgrancanaria Classic. And that might start opening a few gaps and starting to skim the front pack a little bit.
Yeah, Martin, looking at everyone out there today, it looks like polls are a yes for this race. There are. I haven't seen too many people that are not running without poles out there. So a decision that definitely a lot of people have made, and obviously a course that requires you to be on top of your game when it comes to climbing with 6,800 meters of uphill. There to really kind of make the most of if you're a strong climber. You can see Caleb there. He's already got his Lecky hand gloves on to be ready for the first bit of action when he gets out the poles.
Yeah, I mean, those are so just convenient to have always on your hands. And actually, if you hit the deck, that will protect the palm of your hands. So, why not? You have them there, you have them ready. But yeah, he's cruising, but he's he's nowhere near slow. That's a pretty honest pace right there for Caleb Olson, who's indeed going for it now. His must be feeling pretty good. So he's like, hey, why not? As long as you stay mindful of the pace and you don't hit the red zone and you keep your eyes peeled also for like the course, because you don't want to be missing a turn or going the wrong way. And there you go, very swift transition across the road and back on. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, folks. So as I mentioned before, we have a timing point 11.4 kilometers into the race. Runners will have done 373 meters of elevation gain. So there is definitely a little bit of uphill in that section of the course, and 200 meters of downhill as well. So undulating start over that first 11.4K, where we will then get a timing checkpoint, and we can really see how this field has spread out, and we can really see where everything is landing with regards to the cards that are getting played in this early section of the race. There is a cutoff time there of 2 hours for all runners. So if the event has started out rough and runners don't get there within 2 hours, they will unfortunately be pulled from the race. And that's just the way it is sometimes, making sure that they manage a good course out here at the North Face Transgrancanaria, an event that is incredibly loved in this part of the world and globally as well. So this is one of the iconic events of this island, and it's just something that really brings an incredible amount of people from all around the world to experience the beauty of this place. I think it's probably a running destination that a lot of people, once we get some incredible footage at sunrise, are going to want to get to, Martin, and check it out. Have you been there before, mate? Have you been on this island?
I actually never been. I've been on many islands of the Canary Islands, and I've never actually been on the Gran Canaria island. But obviously, I've seen a lot of it through the live coverage and images of the Gran Canaria Classic, the marathon, all that, these races, the VK. And then good spotting team. I like probably 90% sure, seeing the color of it, that these are the new version of the Ultrafly that some of the Nike athletes were already testing last summer, and I got a chance to see them, and they were lighter and a bit smoother than the existing first model. And definitely looked like a huge improvement from like already a pretty good shoe. So that's what he's got right now. And as soon as we get a close-up, I will be able to confirm or not, unless somebody in the Nike Trail team is out in the chat and can confirm that officially, because I'm only making assumptions. So there we go. That's what we were talking about, Maj. So as much as we think that they're going away from the ocean and starting to climb, that was the hill with the 300 plus meters of elevation gain into the first aid station. And now they're dropping back. So there's actually quite a bit of descent in that first section to get into the first aid station. And Caleb is making the best of it. Like, he's cruising, and see like how he's trying to run smooth and not try to hammer his leg on the tarmac. Try to be conservative here, braking instead of opening the stride.
Yeah, he's definitely taking it pretty easy on that downhill. You can see here Claudia is definitely opening up a little bit more than him in comparison. Early days, folks, early days. No real need to just go and destroy your quads, especially when it's asphalt as well, because the asphalt can allow you to run pretty aggressively on the downhill. Shout out to our camera riders. They are doing an awesome job. That must be a pretty powerful headlight to keep an eye on Caleb as he moves through this section of the course.
Yeah, and man, Caleb is on a mission. because we haven't looked back whether maybe the rest of the pack is right behind the camera mountain biker, or if it's just slowly but surely opening up a gap on the rest of the field that early on. So again, we'll get the splits. We're 40 minutes into the race, so probably another hour or so. And yeah, there's a bit of an advert, so we'll tune that for a second, and we'll be back right up to that. And it looks like we're back after this quick advert. And we're both staring at the screen like, what's going on here? Yeah, just check in the chat. Can you guys hear us well? There's a bit of a question here. Okay, we're good. We were checking with the studio if you guys could hear us well. That is all good, awesome. Thanks for confirming. And yeah, we're 40 minutes into the North Face Transgrancanaria Classic that will continue through the night. We're going to be with you guys for probably another half hour until all the runners go through that first aid station. Thanks, team. Thanks for the feedback. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Oren. That's what we needed to figure out. Thanks, Tara, because sometimes that happens, sadly, that we speak for about 10 minutes and then the student's like, guys, like turn on the mic. We can't hear you. And there's a lot of good nuggets that have disappeared into the universe and haven't made it through to you guys. So again, thanks for the feedback. And look at that. That section is technical. Caleb is still flying over the rocks, but you can see that he's definitely having to like find his way and make sure he's landing as flat as possible on his feet. But that does not seem to slow him down too much, which is impressive. Look at the arm swing here just to kind of balance himself. Yeah, that is a fairly technical section. But the American runner is on a mission.
Yeah, he's taking this race out hard, Martin. He's definitely gonna want to start his season off really, really well. Unsure actually if Caleb will be returning to Western States later on this year. I assume he will be, but after placing in the top 10 last year, that would be a race that is big on his calendar. But today he is going to start off his season as best he can. It's very early still within the year, but he's no stranger to racing consistently throughout a year in total. So it's good to see him showing up here, taking the lead, taking it out nice and hard. And as you can see, Martin, he's not really holding back on this technical terrain. He doesn't look like he's uncomfortable, though. He looks like he's smooth and in control, and he definitely looks like he is doing this intentionally and making the most of his fresh legs. You can see him there making sure that he's taken on his fluids and his no doubt nutrition as well. Checking his watch, having a sip, getting down to gel. All part of making sure you are setting yourself up in the early parts of a race like this for a consistent effort, good energy levels, and being able to maintain the best effort you can consistently over the course of what we expect Martin to be approximately 13 hours and 20-ish minutes. That was the winning time of last year. So if we see a race winning time of around about that, there is not going to be too much surprise. There was some incredible paces getting thrown down yesterday in the marathon. Martin. Some really, really strong finishes and coming under what we really expected to be the winning times of the race. So maybe that will unfold as well as we tick over to just on 45 minutes elapsed in the North Face Transgrancanaria Classic for 2025. Early days, Martin, early days, but we are going to see him. Look at that, finishing a whole flask there, making sure he gets that down, folks. So just have a think about that. Oh, we are coming into the first aid station here. That is a winner. That is bang on. That's 11.4 kilometers into this course, and Caleb is the first in that point.
And interestingly enough, like even though it is dark, like he chose, like he asked to get a bit of water to be poured down his neck, and that was a very swift transition, refilling the water while second place runner here from Team the North Face.
I believe that might be Josh Wade coming through that aid station. He just blew through as well, folks. Like you said, Martin, he didn't opt for any water, didn't opt for anything to be poured on him, which, yeah, is fine, totally fine. It's up to
different strategies, eh?
Totally.
Like Caleb definitely knew that he was going to stop. He already had the flask out, so he chose maybe to start a little lighter. And good spotting. So that is indeed Josh Wade, and then Jose Angel Fernandez Jimenez is in third place apparently at that point. But yeah, it seems like there might be a bit of a glitch. We're not too sure.
What we can confirm is definitely Caleb Olsen passing through that first aid station in first place, and Josh Wade following very close behind him. That's 11.4 kilometers into the race, and they went through that in 45 minutes 25 seconds. That was Caleb Olsen. So that's a very solid start. That is moving with a decent pace for sure.
And Liam like pointed out, like they're almost 3 minutes down on last year's split. So Caleb is definitely pushing the pace at this very moment. And somebody's asking in the chat, at this aid station, they've already climbed 373 meters and descended 211 meters. So that's an honest pace with that amount of up and down already. So hopefully he can, he can keep it together.
So, folks, if you do want to head over to transgrancanaria.live trail, you will get the timing for this aid station that the runners have just passed through, get a bit of an understanding for the spread of the race and who is moving through. Everyone, obviously, it tells not the full picture when you just have images of the front two going through that aid station, but everyone else is still obviously very, very close behind, moving through at a decent pace. And the field has been spread a little bit, but it is very, very tight still, with a lot of the big names we expect to see running in that top front group.
I mean, pretty much the top 12, 15 is within a minute. So, which means that they're all running under last year's pace, which, you know, if you're sitting in 10th position right now, like Christian Manole, Pau Capel, Borja Fernandez, and even just a bit of ahead, Jonathan Albon, this is probably where you want to be at this point in the race. Like taking your time, staying with people around you, so you don't need to pay attention too much at where you're going and risking going the wrong way, because it does take a little bit of attention off of you. So you spend the night with the group. Don't worry too much about that. Let people like relay with the pace, and possibly like technically you should be able to have a conversation at this point. So have a catch up. I know that some athletes do that early in races. Like they just feel good and they're just clicking through the Ks and having a yarn with everyone. It's also a way to distract your mind from the racing. They're going to be at it for quite a long time. So anything that can make it less heavy on the mind is definitely a good way. And I believe as soon as we're going to tune out, Cal Wilson is going to be probably stoked not to have a blasting light in his face anymore. And so that's also why we're, tuning out at some point, because we want to give a little bit of space to these runners throughout the night. Because one could question is like, well, guys, it's pitch black now and we're doing the live coverage. So technically we could be doing it throughout the entire course. But really, we also want to give the runners a little bit of space, a little bit of a chance to like be with themselves and out in the nature, in this beautiful place that the island of Gran Canaria is, and catch up with them at sunrise on the high points of the island.
Yeah, Martin, I think we need to figure out when that music festival is on, just to the right of the screen there.
Yep.
That looks like a bit of a party. If Caleb keeps this up, I dare say he'll be having a bit of a party at the southern end of the island when he arrives down there at in the afternoon tomorrow. But right now he is just making it be known that he is out there to race today. There is no holding back, and he is making sure that he is taking control of this race, going out strong. And I dare say, Martin, he is going to just be in that position for as long as he can and not give any space to anyone else if he can avoid it.
Yeah, and as much as he's going really fast, and like Romain was saying, yeah, it's about like 4:15 ish minute per K, which is a very honest pace. He's not that far ahead, like compared to the rest of the field. Josh Wade was 150 meters back, and then there you go. We got everyone there cruising behind.
Yeah.
So Migueleras.
And if you look at this unfold
with the handheld,
there are so many experienced runners in this chasing pack here. Miguel Harras won this race 15 years ago, back in 2010, has been incredibly consistent over that period of time. Pau Capel was in there as well, and he obviously the king of this island, the king of this race, winning it 4 times between 2017 and 2020. Zaid Malik, he is their incredibly experienced runner in all distances too, short, long. So there's a whole lot of experience there that are just they're just easing into the race. It's such a long night ahead. As you said, Martin, these runners are really going to be running through more than half of the race in darkness. The sun rises in another 6 hours and 30 minutes, and yeah, so it's going to be a lot of darkness, and there's going to be a whole lot of time to build into the race that you want to have. And going out hard is not always the best strategy for a lot of people. We see it especially with within the men's race. So
and there he is. I was confusing with someone else, but this is Yone Christian Manole with the black quiver and the red pack, who was just behind Zaid Malik. And then now we're back with the neon yellow socks, Pau Capel right here on your screen with the orange top. This is the way to differentiate him from the North Face runners. Josh Wade at the front, and I believe John Albon also is up there in the mix. Apparently, it was around 16 degrees Celsius at the start. And so all the runners are now going into the second aid station. And hopefully we'll catch a glimpse of the ladies. So Maj, they've gone through now, 49.56, and already 3 minutes back in Karspesken in second place. So Claudia Tramps leading the women's field of this North Face Transgrancanaria Classic. representing Team On. And going through 49.56 and 52.53, so just under 3 minutes back already. Ingvild Kaspersen is in second place, and it seems like Evie Banks in third place, another 10 seconds back. So it's actually pretty close there. Martina Klankik, Victoria Seniutene from Lithuania, and then the likes of Anna Fischer, Marin Nakash. There's a bit more of a spread in the women's top 10 than in the men's. And interesting to see Claudia's pace. And if she can keep it up, because, 3 minutes over 11 Ks, if that gap keeps increasing, it's going to be very comfortable by the time the sun rises. And as we're going, no, Zach Miller ran the vertical kilometer, but he will actually be with us tomorrow during the live broadcast. So if you do have questions, get them ready, because we'll have him for, I'm guessing, about an hour, Maj, hopefully. And so we're going to be able to shoot the shit, and that's going to be really cool because, we haven't seen him in quite a while. Like, I think last time we saw him, he was on the North Island of New Zealand a couple of years back after he won a pretty solid 100-mile race. And after he probably ate like 3 full buckets of chicken wings and an ice cream that had more scoops that you can count.
Yeah, it's going to be great to have Zach here. So, folks, if you do want to tune in with any questions for Zach, please let us know. Make sure you get on the chat when he is in the studio. He is someone that you could keep talking if you've got the right questions. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, we see this racing unfold, and as you said, Martin, Claudia Tremps taking out the women's race pretty aggressively at the moment, putting 3 minutes on second place Ingvild Kaspersen in the first 11 kilometers. That is pretty solid. That is that is no mucking around, and that is getting down to business. Absolutely. Within the right hand side of the screen, we've got the lead female, Claudia Tremps. In the left hand side of the screen there, folks, this is the chasing pack in the men's race. I believe that in the orange most likely is John Albon.
Yeah, and I was actually going to second what Jeff is saying in the chat. Is like, John is going to pull Albon and methodically sneak his way up to the lead and win. Chance, on paper, he has the highest ITRA score. So, you know what? Like, this is something he can pull off. But again, it's a long race. It is a hot race, which doesn't always suit him as well. But he is there, and usually, John, when he shows up at the start of a race, he means business, and he almost always delivers. And yeah, he's making an obvious sign. Is like, bro, get off my face with your light, which is fair enough.
Yeah, tricky situation here, folks. Obviously, we do not want to start to affect the runner's experience in these events with covering a live stream all the way through the night. Imagine running through the dark of night with someone chasing you the whole time with a bright flashlight on a bike. Definitely something that needs to be considered within the realms of live streaming and bringing this sport to everyone that is unable to be there in the flesh on the beautiful island of Gran Canaria. As you can see, it's a fine balance to strike, and maybe something that we are going to obviously consider all the time with these events being live streamed more and more and more in the sport. But we hope it also brings an incredible amount of value to everyone who is watching and tuning in from around the world. Really, really looking forward to seeing some of those early morning shots when we get back onto this live stream as the dawn rises and these runners have passed through the night. We can see what's unfolded, and yeah, we get to see some of that incredible footage of this insane island and why it is considered to be one of the running hotspots of the world.
And in Maj, there's going to be wonders, there's going to be unicorns and rainbows, but there's going to be carnage, bro. There will be, and there always is. As runners run through the night, whichever race that is, on the next morning, we wake up and we look at the rankings, and there has been carnage. There has been people who moved up the field, and there have been people who sadly would just have had a bad time or would just like twist an ankle, like miscalculate the nutrition plan, do not pay attention enough to the weather conditions, they don't cover themselves enough and get cold. There's a lot of things that can happen and that will happen. So again, this is the end of this first section of the broadcast after the start of this the North Face Transgrancanaria Classic, Maj. Once again, 126 kilometers, just under 7,000 meters of elevation gain and loss. Oh yeah, do we get balloons? 100% balloons, baby. This is how we do it. We could even get confetti. This is how we do it. So thanks a lot for tuning in. We're having so much fun. This was just a stint, just a little bit of a stint to get you all excited. And if you are close to that Central European time or actually UK time for the Canary Island, have a good night. It is time to go to bed. And if you're anywhere else in the world, have a good day, have a good evening, have a good morning. Whichever way. But one thing for sure is that we're going to be back once again. So if you found this live broadcast, chances are you're going to be able to find it again. So you stay on the Transgrancanaria official YouTube channel, and there's already the other live broadcast that is planned. So you can already subscribe and be reminded of whenever that's going to start. And yeah, I think that's it for us.
That's it, folks. Yeah, if you want to keep in touch, look at Live Trail. Transgrancanaria, the race will unfold there. So have a look at Live Trail if you want to follow the race via those means, get some updates as they pass through those different checkpoints. We will be back in about 7 hours time. And if you are going to have a rest and then do the night shift with us, that would be awesome. We'd really appreciate it. We've got some awesome guests. Like you said, Zach Miller's going to come on.
Caitlin Gerbin has been confirmed. So we don't know the times yet. And it sounded like there was going to be another the North Face athlete, question mark on that. But at least these two will be there. So get your questions ready.
Yeah, awesome athletes, awesome people. So just like yourselves, thanks a lot. Appreciate you. And we will see you in a few hours' time.
Peace.